Right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my boy, Loyalist. And I'm sorry, I can't get the excited stuff going down. I don't feel the best in the world, but I'm pushing through because I don't feel so bad that I can't do this right now, right? And we need to talk about this game upcoming. So there will be times when you're going to see me muted. I'm just going to be like, and then that means Loyalist has to take over, okay? Because, yeah, I got a lot going on up here in my face. So, feeling like dog snot. But, guys, before we get started, I just want to give a shout out like I do, every time. I'm telling you what, you guys that actually donate to the channel, you're so awesome. I'll tell you that much right now. I mean, you help us out a ton, and we appreciate it. Those of you that use the link in the description for donations. Real quick, I want to give a couple shout outs real fast. Brian Walton dropped $30 last night, or not yesterday morning or something like that, right after we got done doing a stream. And then, so I appreciate that a ton. But yesterday, looky there, anonymous. I don't know who you are. No one knows who you are. You're anonymous, but you know who you are. And I just want to say thank you so much for the $80 donations. He says, please make more great content. Thank you. Man, that means a lot to us. We're definitely going to make sure that we get some more stuff out. Hopefully I get over this sickness pretty soon. Get into some film rooms, get that up and going. And that's going to be it, right? Continue making all this content for you guys. We appreciate each. Whoa, hi there. We appreciate you guys who support the channel. And if you want to support the channel but don't have the money to help donate, feel free. Just hit that like button, right? And share to your favorite social media. Just get the word out. Exposure is everything. But we're here to talk about this Sunday's Indianapolis Colts heading to the Tennessee Titans for revenge game number 2 in a row. All right. Number 2 in a row, because last week we had the Jacksonville revenge game, right? And we got the win at the last seconds of the game. I don't want to see that, but you know what? As long as we win, I'm happy. All right, because this is a tough Tennessee game. And the last time we faced this team, a certain Derrick Henry had like 150 yards rushing against us. All right. And our offensive line couldn't hold back a runny nose. All right. And I know how hard it is to hold back a runny nose right now because I'm dealing with it. But, man, how important is this game here upcoming?
This is massive because you know what? You keep talking about culture and stuff. And this team, when they get to these big moments that can really take control of the AFC South, over the last couple of years, they've fallen short. Last year, we have everything ended. But even when we played the Titans game, yes, absolutely. But the thing is let's develop that culture of winning these important games, taking control. I mean, I get it. We haven't figured out how to take control of early part of the game, but you know what? Let's get the early part of the season under control. It doesn't lock anything in, but man, it's going to make it a heck of a lot easier, especially with the slow start that we had in the first 5 weeks.
Absolutely. Now, in order to talk about this upcoming game, we need to know exactly who is going to be there playing. And the best way of doing that is what? Checking out the injury report, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check out and see who's going to be available for the Tennessee Titans, or more specifically, who's not going to be available for the Tennessee Titans and also the Indianapolis Colts. Now, as we walk through here, Zach Cunningham did not play the last time we played, right? And he's not going to play this time. Zach's a great inside linebacker. We know him from the Texans, actually. So he's going to be out. Joe Jones, that's actually more difficult to pronounce, in my opinion, than it actually seems. He's going to be out with a knee. Torrey Carter is out, the fullback, and Nate Davis, their guard, is out. The only actual questionable person they have is Kyle Phillips, a wide receiver that they have. He's questionable for the game. Going towards the Indianapolis Colts side of things, we had a bunch of people that was just like, dude, just go take a rest. We had 5 people on here just because of rest, right? Rest people, Stephon Gilmore, Ryan Kelly, Yannick Ngakoue, and then down here we got a couple resters as well, specifically DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. Now, DeForest Buckner had his rest today, right? And a lot of people were like, oh my goodness, what's so wrong? Because he wasn't on the field. It was just a rest day. So, nothing really out of the ordinary there. Kiki Kuti still dealing with the concussion, so he's out. Kwity Paye got that ankle. He's going to be out for a while. He's still out. Darius Shaquille Leonard dealing with a trifecta of issues with his concussion, nose and back, which we all know what's going on with that. He's not going to play. He says he thinks he can go, but the team is trying to protect him from himself. So I'm okay with that. Let's get him 100%, or at least as close to 100% as possible. And then, of course, JoJo Domann is out as well. We do not have anyone that is questionable. We have outs or in the discussion. There's no one out here, not even Jonathan Taylor is questionable in this game, which is nice to see.
Yeah, that's huge. And back to the Titans injury, that Nate Davis, that guard missing, that's big time, guys. I'm telling you right now that, that offensive line they've been grinding through and stuff, but now you sit there and you give Grover or DeForest or Tyquan Lewis. I mean, these guys are going to be looking at that basically like, that Jeffrey Simmons and the rest of them guys are going to be looking at Matt Pryor. It's like, okay, this is somewhere to attack. You know what I mean? So that's a big miss for them this week.
Absolutely. And you already know, that with their starting left tackle out, I understand that, their backup has had plenty of reps over the last 2 years from that, but he's still a backup for a reason because Taylor Lewan is Taylor Lewan when he's on the field. But I'm expecting our defensive line to really show out to this game, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. They need to. I'll tell you right now because, there again, we know. I mean, we've been dealing with it all year. If that offensive line's not blocking really good, it's hard for your running backs to be able to produce at a high level. You take away, with that, along with this stout defensive line that the Colts are bringing, make King Henry, make his day hard. Make him earn every yard. Like I said, the guy's going to go out. He's going to get his. Okay, just don't let him control the game, and like we sort of saw there at the first half, especially in that Jaguars game.
So Sierra Lee jumps in and says, why is Leonard getting so much hate from Colts fans? And look, I'll tell you what. I think 99% of this is the fact that he just got that monster contract and he's played 2 series all year, but that's not his fault. He's had surgeries and injuries and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and the thing is guys, Shaq he's wanting to be there, and he's getting a bum rap. Everybody's acting like this is of his choice. And you said real clearly, Coach in the press conference, you could tell that this was not of Shaq's doing, But yet here again, the volatile nature, Sierra Lee, I imagine you're probably seeing a lot of that hate coming from Twitter and stuff, And it's just a different thing. That to me, I'll be honest with you. At first, I thought Twitter was an example of the fan base, but I'm really believing more and more that that's just the minority fan base that just wants to sit there and poo-poo on the parade for everything. And like I said, me personally as a fan, I was kind of hoping that Shaq would take another week, just get 100%. I mean, Derrick Henry, we just talked about it. Do you really want to bring Shaq in with limited reps. Coach said, he hasn't even done anything physical for the last 2 weeks. Why would you want to sit there and bring him against this Titans offense? Because, guys, they play football the same way we do. It's all about physicality.
Absolutely. And Zaire Franklin has been an absolute stud against the run, right? So this is a situation where I'm okay with I don't mind Zaire Franklin being in this spot, against Derrick Henry, because he's more of a physical tackler. Whereas, Shaquille, he's a great playmaker, but he's not necessarily the physical tackler, if you know what I mean. He's more of the finesse tackler while he's trying to get strips and stuff. Mm-hmm. But Zaire, he's the guy, he's going to lay it down, right? Yeah. And Derrick Henry's one of those guys where you need someone who's willing to do that. So again, obviously turnovers is so important. We lost a turnover battle in week 5. We need to be, or week 6 or 4, sorry. We lost turnover battle in week 4. We need to get that turnover battle this week. But the big thing about that is we lost it because our offense was giving the ball away so much. Yeah. And I don't think that we're going to have that problem this week.
Absolutely. I mean, this offensive line, I think the Colts have found something over the last couple of weeks, especially last week. And I get it. Everybody's like, Ryman's got to get the reps. But right now, guys, the wins are much more important. I hope to see a rotation, but even if I don't, the most important thing is protecting that win. And then if you can fit in times for Ryman to get the reps, and let's not forget, where did Dennis Kelly play? Most of his, last 5 or 6 years was at Tennessee. So, how familiar are they with him, more so than even just being divisional rivals?
Absolutely. I do think that Bernhard Ryman will get probably a couple series in this game. It's just something that the Colts, Frank Reich and them have been doing, basically just trying to get him acclimated to the NFL and the pros, right? For long term. It's something that they're doing to try to get him acclimated, because obviously, Kelly's not going to be our left tackle for the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, good Lord, he's already 1 foot into the retirement home. So you got to pay attention to that. But he still I thought he played pretty good just this past week against Jaguars, right? Yeah. Ryman did. And they just, it was limited reps, and they brought him in, and thank goodness Kelly looked a lot better than the former left tackle that was there that played full time.
Honestly, this is one of those situations where, if God willing, the Colts can find a way to stretch a lead out, get a little bit of a lead or something, that's the opportunity. That's when you sit there and you say, okay, now let's plug Ryman in, let's get him some experience and some reps and stuff. That's the type of situations I would like to see Ryman get into. I mean, you want to call it garbage time, but that's vital time for him, because, to your point, this year we don't need him as much if Dennis Kelly continues to perform like he did this last week. There again, need to see more of that. It takes more than 1 week, because right now, last week was the outlier. Let's make that the norm. And then, like I said, we'll make decisions from that point on.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I tend to think that even though the offensive line is playing a little bit better, Jeffrey Simmons is a beast. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see the thumbnail that we had on here. It was Jeffrey Simmons versus Quentin Nelson. And Simmons is not going to be against Nelson all day. No one wants to face Nelson all day long. He's going to be moving over to that right guard position a few times because, I mean, that's the most favorable matchup, right? Simmons versus Matt Pryor. So that is by far the best matchup for him. So are we expecting some kind of hurried offense, quick release stuff like we did this past Sunday, do you think?
Okay, there's 2 answers to this. Okay, if you look at the history of the Colts, okay, no, that's no guarantee, because Coach Reich, he'll put it in 1 week and then you may not see it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's back in. But there again, as from what I'm hoping to see, I love the way that really got the offense just gelling on all levels. So I hope to see it again. But there again, unfortunately, they don't pay me the big bucks to make those decisions. That's what Coach Reich's there for. And the thing is you don't want to get too predictable. Okay, so I understand that. But like I said, all I care about is get in there and start showing your dominance. Whether it's in the huddle, whether it, because I love the way Matt Ryan works this hurry up offense and stuff, but it doesn't have to be the only way that we can be productive. Like, get this offensive line blocking better, open up some lanes, get JT doing old JT things, like we've seen week 1, like we've seen the last couple of years. And then you're not going to have to sit there and worry about these other little things other than just like we've talked about, other than as an option to just throw the team off balance a little bit.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Okay. I like our shots, our wide receivers versus their cornerbacks. Big time. I mean, big time. They got Roger McCreary, who is a 2nd-round pick this year, and Terrence Mitchell and Christian Fulton. Those are their cornerbacks. All right. I think our trio of wide receivers of Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, and Alec Pierce could absolutely have big days today if only our offensive line could just give Matt Ryan 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. And that's all he needs, right? And I think that's a situation where we could really exploit their secondary. Now, their safeties aren't bad, right? Their safeties aren't bad. You got Armani Hooker, and Kevin Byard, and we all know Byard is a former All-Pro, right? And he's very good at safety. But he's going to be more the guy of sitting back looking for that, deep pass. Don't worry about the deep pass. Get those first downs.
Yeah. And the thing is, you sit there and I love what Darius Jackson did last week. I loved it, and we've seen how, the run game wasn't there. Coach went and found a different way to basically, those little short dump off passes, which was an extension of the run game. Now, there's some of those plays as I was going back through, especially with B-ball, we were going back through the all 22 and stuff, and we just kept going, oh, could you imagine if JT had that hole? Or, oh, could you imagine if JT had been in that situation? Or even Nyheim Hines. So, guys, I'm telling you right now, not trying to disrespect Darius Jackson, Deion Jackson at all. But the thing is what he did last week was phenomenal. But he's still not JT. He's still not Nyheim Hines. But I'll tell you what, I'm hoping to see a little bit, not a lot, because I understand Coach said JT is still going to be the workhorse. But I would love to sit there and see Deion get, 5-7 snaps, because the thing is he offers you the same thing JT does as far as, being physical runner, wearing down that defense. He gives you some of that without JT having to take all those hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So JT would still benefit from that style of running.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the only thing that Deion doesn't have, obviously, besides the experience and being able to see, cut lanes and stuff like that, but the breakaway speed, obviously,
that top end is sick with JT.
Yeah.
Especially after 2 weeks rest. Especially after 2 weeks rest. I'm telling you right now, JT's going to go in. I mean, we were talking about how hungry Shaq is. JT, I imagine, is still the same way, because you guys think about it. His last play ended in something that he absolutely despises, fumbling the ball. You know what I mean? I imagine he wants to get that taste out of his mouth as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Guys, while we're here, please smash that like button. It helps with analytics. We appreciate it very, very much. Share this to your favorite social media. Again, like I said, exposure helps a ton. And the only way we get exposure is guys like you, people like you. And while you're here, go ahead and let's go ahead and get some of these out of the way. It's 20 minutes in. Go check out Newsbreak. We drop little tidbits of Newsbreak all the time. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. What the heck? This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. I'm feeling worse and worse and worse as we sit here and talk. So I apologize. We probably won't be running an hour stream, but I appreciate you guys so much. Hey, Sarah jumps in here. I appreciate that, Sarah. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says you both are amazing. Do you think we do anything at the trade deadline? Love you. Hey, Sarah, thank you so much. There is a lot of talk about, different people moving around. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey was just moved to the Niners, right? For a second, third, fourth, and fifth round pick, which Carolina was asking for a whole lot more than that. They wanted 2 firsts for him, but I guess they settled.
They had trouble because the 2 teams that were in the running, neither of them had a first round pick. So
no, and honestly, this is a great acquisition for the Niners. It's going to be fantastic. And then of course they already sent DJ Moore over to the Cardinals, so they're trying to stack up some picks right now. But I know there was a lot of talk about Elijah Moore from the Jets wanting traded, and there was a lot of people, wouldn't mind getting him for the Colts. I don't think the Colts are going to go out and get any wide receivers. First off, I think Elijah Moore's off the table. From what I understand, Saleh already said he's not getting traded. Yeah. We're not trading him. So he says he's not going to play this week, and we're not trading him. I guess that's his sit down and shut up, is basically how Robert Saleh is handling that situation. But me personally, I don't think the Colts are going to trade for a wide receiver, as a lot of people. I think that they're fine at wide receiver. I think we have weapons. I mean, we saw it last week. I think that they're really, really good. Could we be in the market for somebody, though? That is a question, and we definitely could. I think there are some specific spots across the roster that Chris Ballard could possibly take a shot at. What do you think?
Right guard. Yeah, I mean, and if you guys are ever in our Discord, Joey Baggs and a few other people have been throwing some names out. And the thing is if the Colts do anything in the deadline, I don't think that it's going to be anything that is going to cost them a lot of draft capital. Okay. And like I said, you look at the right guard situation. I've had a few names put to me that I've got to do a little bit. But honestly, me personally, if it costs more than a 5th round draft pick, I don't want anything to do with it. Because remember, guys, we still have to find a long-term answer at our quarterback situation over the next couple of years. So the more draft capital you have, the easier it is to get up and trade it. So like I said, me personally, I hope that they look, kick, turn over some stones. I mean, I know a lot of people are like Chris Reed, I think if Chris Reed wanted to be here, he would have been here. He was offered. He just, and yeah, I know he's been on the healthy scratch list all season long. But there again, that's the way that all played out, at least from my understanding of it. I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was a location thing. Okay, so no, I'm not getting a call.
Guard.
Yeah. We just, I just sat there telling Lawrence earlier, I was like, man, I hope I don't catch what you got, doing this here and stuff. And he's like, I could put a little computer mask on if you'd like.
Right.
But no, like I said, honestly, I don't think that there's going to be anything big and splash. I wouldn't mind looking, seeing what's out there as far as competition. Okay. I think Matt Pryor is going to still be there. I mean, you look at how much he's being paid. You look at, the way that offensive line worked last week. Granted, it's only 1 week, But I'm like I said, I just don't want to give up much draft capital because until we figure out this long-term quarterback situation, I just want to keep as many of those bullets that we can possibly have.
Absolutely, Sarah. I appreciate you, and I hope I do too. I hope I don't get worse and worse like my wife and my son did, and then ends up affecting whether or not I can do the live game reaction Sunday. Loyalist and I was talking about that earlier. Daniel Miller asks, "Is there any corners on the market?" I don't know if the Colts will go after a cornerback. I feel like they're very deep at the secondary position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the thing is, I mean, guys, we've already got corners that aren't playing. Okay, no matter what the fan base feels about, I'm sorry, no matter what the fan base feels about, the whole, Brandon Faison situation. The thing is they're still trusting this kid. And I know I was there. I was just as angry after last week. But prior to last week, his play wasn't nearly that bad. Now, if he goes out there again, and getting starting reps and keeps just getting torched with the run game, then maybe, you start looking at shifting Isaiah Rodgers Sr. in for more playing time. He's already started building up more playing time. Also, don't forget, we when we drafted Rodney Thomas, we drafted him as a corner. They were like, oh, he's going to be a corner. Now, that's something I've been tossing around in my head. Do you maybe, if say Isaiah Rodgers Sr. and Brandon Faison aren't getting a job, do you move, Thomas over there a little bit and get, Julian Blackmon back on the field? I mean, guys, those are three outstanding guys. When you look at Rodney McLeod, Rodney Thomas, and Julian Blackmon, and then you got Nick Cross waiting in the rings. Our secondary depth is it's better than it's been as long as I can remember. Since '84 easily. This is the deepest secondary that we've had. So I don't really see a whole lot of moving. Like I said, if anything, I think the Colts are going to be looking at that O-line or, Anyhow, lost my train of thought. But the O-line is where I think that if they're going to do anything, it will happen.
Or honestly, first off, Mason Swain brings up an interesting question. We are incredibly deep at safety right now. Julian Blackmon has not been able to stay on the field a whole lot. I know you say it's not a good idea. You like Thomas. Thomas is playing great. Mm-hmm. Rodney McLeod playing great. We have 4 safeties, right? Because don't forget, we got another safety that hadn't been playing. Looked great in training camp, Cross, right? But still a rookie, just like Thomas. There could be an opportunity for Blackmon to get traded just to keep to keep the salary down, so to speak, but then again, he ain't been able to stay healthy. So probably end up getting him for when his rookie contract comes up, you might be able get like prove it year contracts. But Blackmon is he's shown flashes. He's known across the NFL. He's known. The issue is the injury. So I don't think you would get much out of him. I don't think. Maybe a guard. You might be able to trade Blackmon for a guard. Does Carolina have a good guard that they'd be interested in?
We were covering that in the Discord also. We're just like, because I was looking at the Patriots. Like, the Patriots always seem to have offensive line that, so looking at some of these teams with depth, or like you said, with the Panthers, because they are basically on a fire sale status now, I just, like I said, and I see Sarah Small has in there tight end, and the thing is I love our young tight ends. You sit there and Kylan Granson, has been improving massively. Jelani Woods. Don't forget, we got Andrew Okereke on IR, who up until, his injury and stuff, he was the front runner. Even there was questions, is he supplanting Kylan Granson? So you got those 3 guys. And the thing is Mo Alley Cox, you're tied to Mo Alley Cox. And honestly, for me, with the 3 guys that we have right now, he's sort of fallen down in my eyes. I know not the coaching staff or the organization, but just in my eyes, because he's not proven to be any better of a blocker than what we're seeing from Jelani Woods or Kylan Granson. Oh,
that ain't going to happen.
No way.
We can't. That would be a $4.6 million offensive line if we did that.
and don't forget Blackman. He's one of those guys that makes he's, we sat there and we're talking about we haven't had many turnovers and stuff. Julian Blackman is one of those electric, dynamic players that can get you those turnovers. I mean, you got him, and the thing is no slight to your co-host from Believe in Colts, but he's not going to be here for 6-7 more years, guys. I mean, Rodney McLeod is playing like a beast, but he's still, do we have him just for 1 year, right? Just for this year, and then
I don't know.
And the thing is even if you extend him, you're not going to get a long term. So the thing is, I understand that we're deep there, but you don't want to give that depth because, like Lawrence said, it helps keep that contract down to to minimum.
1 year, $1.7 million.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the way he's playing, he's definitely going to get an offer.
I would hope at least 2 years more offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he's playing lights out.
I just don't see that's going to be a 4 to 6 year type of answer. And the thing is, you look at Blackman, you look at Nick Cross, you look at Rodney Thomas. These guys are more long term. Plus, they're a little bit cheaper.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too. Look, I think the tight ends, I think I honestly think that our skill positions on offense are great. All right. I like our depth and our abilities at wide receiver. I like our tight ends. Kylan Granson is one of the best players in the NFL at getting open. Like literally 4.5 yards of separation per route. What? That's like fourth best in the NFL right now. That's unbelievable. And that's why he's getting targeted so much the last 2-3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then Jelani Woods is just that dude. You get in the red zone, you're just like, here.
And the thing is like I said, you look, guys, if you watch any of the film and stuff, the younger tight ends are blocking much better game in and game out. I mean, you still see where they're getting pushed around or where they don't have their leverage, but they are getting better. And I don't understand why everybody wants to give up on this younger talent when they're finally starting to produce and show out. I mean, and like I said, we are committed to Mo Alley Cox. I mean, that contract isn't, unless you can get rid of that contract along with it. And Mo Alley Cox, let's remember, granted, he's not had a big flashy season, but don't forget week 4 against this exact team, the Titans, he had himself a day, so.
Yeah. Well, and not just that. I mean, who do you think has been that mentor for all these young tight ends that we have that have been there answering questions and teaching them the ins and outs of Colts tight end football? It's not Jack Doyle. He's not here, my guys. It's Mo Alley Cox out there, being that mentor to these guys. And that's the reason why, part of the reason why these young tight ends are really stepping up and being big. Playing big, and I really I don't see him leaving. Like you said, we got money into him. But here's the thing. There's a good question in this chat, and I'm almost afraid to bring it up because this is tough, and I don't want to do this, but this has nothing to do with the Colts and Titans at all.
Okay.
When Rigoberto Sanchez comes back from injuries, do we drop Hawk?
Me personally, yes. And I've got a quick answer to that. And placement punting is what we do. Okay. Hawk, he's been booming. He's been playing great. But whenever it comes to pinning these guys within the 10, that's just not his game. He's just not real accurate at that. I mean, there was 2 punts last week where it's like, oh man. And honestly, if that had been Rigo, I think he would have pinned them in the 5-7 yard line. Instead, they were out at the 15. And like I said, I'm not the dude has come in. He's helped flip the field for us multiple times, But for me personally, Rigo is just, he fits this Colts special team scheme too perfectly. It's not even a tough one for me, honestly.
You're right. Look, Sanchez is so good at, like you said, just dropping that ball inside. How many times has our special teams unit, with him punting the football, been able to pin the other team at the 1 or inside the 5? We've gotten safeties because of this man, right? So this is definitely, you don't get rid of Rigoberto. You just don't, man.
And there again, you guys, what is that telling the locker room? If you sit there and you get injured and then automatically, now all of a sudden you don't even get a chance back? That's not something that you want circulating through that locker room, I would imagine.
No. You know what's a scary freaking stat that I didn't realize until today about the Tennessee Titans? So far this year, they are 93% success rate in the red zone.
Red zone, yeah.
93% success rate of getting touchdowns in the red zone. That is freaking ridiculous. Like, the next closest is like 82 or something like that. They got like a 10% massive jump. We gotta put an end to that crap right now. How about we just don't let them in the red zone?
That's what now you're talking. and the sicker thing about it is, you sit there and say, well, of course they are. They got King Henry. He's not the one they're using in the red zone. You know what I mean? As much as that, it's like,
Dylan.
What? Dylan is just, and he's, no. It's just like you said, let's just not even let them in the red zone. Matter of fact, I've always say this: treat the 50 like it's your goal line. Just try to make it to where they don't even get past the 50.
I mean, that would be nice in theory. But, I just say, you know what? Here's the thing. We've been talking about this all year. The Colts are a second half team. Every game this year, they have put points on the second half and allowed jack and squat in the second half, giving up points. Last week, they took that and added the second quarter to it as well. I mean, they 3/4 of the game, they played really. Let's have our first full game of football. Wouldn't that be awesome, everybody?
I'm telling you guys right now, I want to have come on moments of the positive nature all day Sunday. Because That's what I'm saying. Let's get a lead. Let's get that rookie tackle in there and get him some reps. You know what I mean? Let's get, absolutely. And the thing is I get it. The Titans always play tough. I seen earlier, somebody was like, Autry plays really good against Nelson. I'm telling you, Nelson realizes that too. And if there's anybody that's going to sit there and take something personal and use, Nelson's the dude. Nelson's like, he realizes what has happened over the last couple of weeks. I would argue to say that they're going to have a little bit more tougher time this week with that.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate you, Andrew. Thank you. Ant in here. What's up, Ant? Says Titans always find a way to find these tough running backs. Tough. Does anyone remember a certain Chris Johnson or Lindell White, smash and dash? I mean, come on. They've always, and then, before Chris Johnson, right? There's
George.
Eddie George might be a top 10 running back all time in the NFL. I don't know if you've ever watched that dude, but he could run, right?
Yeah, this is a game where, whoever's the most physical will win, because these two teams are built very similar. And the thing is the last 3-4 games, they've just been the more physical team. And I honestly, like I said, it's nice seeing all these guys healthy. It's nice seeing that these guys are coming out and this offensive line's starting to feel its mojo. They're not going to want to give that up. They heard all the – I know they don't – but darn good and well, they got sick and tired of every film room day going in there and looking at all the mistakes and stuff. And they're like, hey, this is kind of nice. You know what I mean? And thing is this Titans team just isn't as strong as it has been in years past, in my opinion. Especially on the offensive side of things. With all their losses and stuff. But my point is if you get a lead on these guys early on, and then you put the ball in Tannehill's hands more, and now you're having to deal with a lot less with these tough running backs and stuff, that's going to go a massive way to sit there and really taking them out of the game. And guys, even in the Titans wins, if you go back and watch them, there's not a whole lot. I mean, they look more like the Colts and the Chiefs win and the Colts and the Broncos win. They're just not impressive wins. You know what I mean? So like I said, I honestly believe that this game right here. I seen somebody say that, why is this game so important? It's important because they have what we want.
We've lost 4 straight to them. All right. They swept us last year and they beat us the year before. We have lost 4 straight to this team. Okay. And on top of that, Mike Vrabel is, if I remember correctly, like 8-0 coming off a bye or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. But here's a good question right here. Great question. Mason Swank jumps in and says, we haven't Gilly trail Robert Woods. I'm going to answer that by a statement by Robert Johnson. Colts need to start Roger Sr. on defense. This is what I would do. Now, as a defensive coordinator, mix things up. I'd put Rodgers out there on Woods and have him just shadow him the whole game and have Thomas, as the safety blanket over the top, because we all know what Thomas does as a safety blanket. You know who I would put Gilmore on the whole game? Austin freaking Hooper. All right. Go. That's what I would do. Take away that tight end. Take away Ryan Tannehill's safety blanket. All right. Make him have to throw in the coverage or everywhere else, because Hooper has been Tannehill's safety blanket this entire season. Because, finally a good tight end ever since they lost the other one to New England. Right. Yeah. So this is that's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do.
And let's not forget, guys, Kenny Moore had a rough start to this season. But I'd argue these last 2 games have been some of his better football of the season. You know what I mean? And the thing is you sit there and the linebackers are playing. I mean, this is a different team, but there's a lot of differences from what they experienced just even 2 weeks ago when you look at how much better the linebackers are playing. I mean, remember, that was also Shaq return game. Wasn't that also the Titans game? And Shaq
got his nose blooded.
Yeah, but Shaq,
No, he came back on the Denver game, I think.
Okay. I was thinking it was the Titans, but like I said, when Shaq came in, he wasn't fully acclimated to anyhow, sorry. He wasn't fully acclimated to this Gus Bradley scheme and stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff. So like I said, this linebacking core and has really been doing much better, and all around, in the run defense. I say that lightly because of last week, but you know what I'm saying. They've been playing much better over the last few weeks.
I think you were right. I think it was the Titans because now that I think back and remember, there was a lot of questions on whether he would play at the Broncos game. I'm like, he's got a concussion. There's no way he can play.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it was only a 4-game thing, and you need minimum 5 just to do that. There's no practicing, so they couldn't even do the full contact practice to even get Leonard to be able to clear concussion protocol to play the Broncos. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. But like I said, I mean, I'm not even worried about Hooper. I mean, I think Kenny Moore, even if he's really good against the tight ends and stuff, And like I said, the way this secondary, but I love that idea of bringing Isaiah Rodgers Sr. in and just shadowing Woods, because he's got that speed, and he's got that playmaking ability. And I get it. He might give up a play or two. You know what I mean?
That's why you need to have Thomas over the top.
Absolutely. Because like I said, our safeties, I cannot tell you how happy I am that our safeties are playing like they are. I mean, Bryden McLeod has come in, and he's shown that, you know what, you want to put me in the box, I'll make that offense realize that I'm here.
I ain't felt this good about our safety group since freaking Antoine Bethea and Bob Sanders.
Absolutely.
That's the last time I felt this good. And that's saying a lot, because those are 2 tough SOBs.
Yeah. And then, like we said, it's not just 2 guys, it's 4 guys deep that are really talented, So I'm telling you right now, I got a really good feeling about this Titans game. The thing that worries me is that Jeffrey Simmons versus Pryor, or anybody versus Pryor, because I know
Bud Dupree.
I was going to say, that's who I was going to say. I know Bud Dupree's coming back, but the thing is I honestly feel like Dennis Kelly is going to be fine with that. I really feel like Dennis Kelly, from what I was watching with last week's film, if we just got what we got last week, okay, Bud Dupree is not Josh Allen. All right. Bud Dupree has not got the reps and the experience with Dennis Kelly that I'm worried about. So I'll tell you right now, if that happens, I think that's not going to be as big of a deal.
Yeah, look, like I said, Pryor right now is our weak link, but in all honesty, I think we'll be okay. I really do, because it's not going to be Simmons on Pryor all day, because if they do that, then we're running towards freaking Quentin Nelson side of the field all day long, and taking Jeffrey Simmons completely out of the game. And you're going to see Jonathan Taylor never come out of the game because he's getting 9-10 yards a carry, because Simmons done left, Quentin Nelson. Quentin's pancaking everybody else, so.
Not to mention, I would take JT and Naheem Hines in pass protection over Philip Lindsay any day of the week, because these guys are a decent little fail-safe. So, yeah.
Hines, now look, I love Hines in pass protection, but I don't want that little dude trying to protect against Simmons. All right.
I'll tell you what, I know what you're saying, but man,
I've seen him light him up before.
Yes, sir.
But
like I said,
still a scary situation.
Yeah, whereas I agree with you. You don't want to put it in that situation, but if need be, I feel much more secure with those two guys back there than Bernard and
don't joke. That's a serious thing that could actually happen in this game. I could see Bernard lining up as a sixth man in big formations. Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Without a doubt. And I could honestly see us going a little bit more of that, just because I believe that Coach Reich really is trying to keep that balance. I mean, you heard him talk about it. Everybody loves that game last week, Matt Ryan throwing 58. That's not going to be sustainable. They want to sit there and establish this run game. You got JT, like I said, your stable's back now. You bring in Bernard Ryman. You bring in, take that and easy to say. Jelani Woods. You bring him in. I'm telling you right now, Kylan Granson, these guys are really good blockers. And the thing is the Titans do not defend against the tight end worth a hoot.
See, here's the thing. People see a play or two and go, oh, they're crappy at blocking. No one blocks perfectly every time. Quentin Nelson loses a rep occasionally. People just don't, show it a lot because they don't want people to know that Quentin Nelson had a bad rep. You know what I mean? But Pryor had 4 bad reps last game. 4. He gave up 4 pressures. All right. 2 of those pressures were hits. Or not pressure. Yeah. 2 of those pressures were hits. Okay. And both those hits shown up on tape, and everybody blew them up. But I'll take 4 pressures in a game from our weak link all day freaking long if that's the worst that we have on our team. That's just me personal opinion. But I got to see that game after game after game from the dude. That better not be his best game of the year. Okay, at guard, because that's not what we want.
Right.
But here's the thing. Look. Our tight ends, there has been clips of our tight ends getting beat. And of course they're going to get beat occasionally. A tight end is not going to win every rep. Period. End of discussion. But as long as they get in the way and you see the effort and they're pushing, that's all that matters. If they win their blocking reps 80% of the time, where I look at a lineman needs to win their reps 90% of the time. And a tight end needs to win their blocking reps 80% of the time, because a tight end is not just there to block. If they were, they'd be offensive linemen, right? They're there to go out and make catches and do other things as well. So if you win your block 80% of the time, then that's great. And Kylan Granson wins 80% of the time. Mo Alley Cox wins 80% of the time. Jelani's got some work to do. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Jelani outblocked Mo Alley Cox last week. I really do.
Yes, but I'm saying for the entire season, there is still some work to be done there.
Yeah, and if we can get that crossing game, that crossers game going on, that's awesome. Because let's not pretend like that the Titans don't blitz and stuff, because they do. And the thing is if we can get Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman Jr. on these crossing routes and stuff, that's going to slow down that rush a little bit too, because they're going to have to stay more out in coverage and stuff. And the thing is then you're looking at JT. Like I said, no slight to Dion, but JT all day will sit there and make these guys pay. Just give them the opportunity.
I don't like the Wildcat with Hines at quarterback. I don't. I hate it. You know what? They need to practice a lot. Jelani Woods at the quarterback position in the Wildcat. That would be awesome because he was a quarterback in college, and pretty good at it too.
Or don't forget now, our second
QB. I know, our second quarterback. But you can run it that way as well. That's fine. I don't want to see Matt Ryan on the field, though, in that. I want every player on the field. If you're in Wildcat, I want every player on the field to be a legit weapon, right? And I'm sorry, Matt Ryan sitting out there wide left is not a legitimate target, okay? There's no one going to be out there covering his ass, all right? I'm just saying.
And in the red zone, I mean, heck with the Wildcat. I am all about, first off, if Jelani Woods is not on every snap of the red zone, I'm going to be like, Coach Reich, what are you doing, my guy? Jelani Woods, you sit there and you put Pierce and you put Pittman. I mean, these guys are physical. They're high point the ball tremendously. And then you got like a Woods, like I said, he's just so freakishly daggone big. I mean, you don't need all that razzle dazzle, especially against this Titans defense, because they will make you pay if you start getting too cute.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not going to get fooled by too much because, they're Mike Vrabel led. And look, I know I get a lot of pushback from Colts fans because, it seems like I have a love affair with Mike Vrabel. And, I can respect a dude and say, I really like this guy, because I do. I have a ton of respect for Vrabel. I think he's a great coach. And you have to recognize really good people in order to and realize what they're good at in order to think of stuff to beat them. Right. So that's how I do that. That's the AFC South, him and Reich are neck and neck, in my opinion, when it comes to being the top coaches in this division. Yeah. I don't even put Peterson up. He's got a lot to prove. Peterson does, in my opinion, but
Vrabel's like that uncle in the family reunion. I don't know if you guys do, but like when we get family get-togethers and stuff, we'd always play basketball or football. He's that uncle that, I love you to death, but I want to beat your because if you don't, you're going to have to sit there and live with it until the next time.
Driggs comes in. Could Henry produce more than JT in the current situation with the O-line? Well, absolutely. Derrick Henry's still Derrick Henry. And I don't want to see it, but in all honesty, this could go either way. Who wins the rushing, title for this game, Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry? It could go either way. It just depends upon the play calls and effort. And don't forget, we're playing in Tennessee, so that they're going to have the crowd on their favor and stuff like that. Let's get into. Shit, man, I didn't want to do an hour and it's already been that. Let's go ahead and do score predictions. Let's do game predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at that point. Please drop your game predictions in the live chat. We'll bring it up as we talk. Loyalist, what's your predictions for this?
Oh, man, I'll tell you right now, I got to bring myself down because right now I'm thinking 82 is nothing. But all right, no, seriously, guys. This is going to be a tough game. They always play tough. I don't think that there's going to be any – I don't think that Bernard Ryman is going to get a lot of reps because we went and blew the doors off in the first half. If we do, that'd be awesome. But me personally, I think I love what we've got from the offense. If this offensive line can duplicate that, and I know that's a big if, but if they can duplicate that, because I think that this Titans defensive front is not as tough as the Jags were last week, okay? I'm going to say – Colts 24 to 27, and I say the Titans 21 points.
Okay. I disagree with you because I think between Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry, I think that line is pretty darn good. Right?
Oh yeah.
I really like the linebackers are not as good. I mean, obviously because the Jaguars got Trayvon, and the Titans lost their best guy, in my opinion, right now in Sack. But I believe I had 24-21 with Believe, and I could not pick a winner. I felt like it was that close, right? And I know I took some smack from Rodney and from Gerard, right? Like, you didn't even pick a winner, dude. And I'm like, I don't know. Look, I'll pick the Colts 24-21, but this is a game that if the Colts offensive line, it all depends on the Colts offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't hold their own, this could be another runaway game for the Titans, and I don't want to see that. I want to see the Colts play hard all game, right? I want to see more, guys like Rodney Thomas and Rodney McLeod and guys like that darting in the backfield, making big tackles for losses. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see. But you got to be biased, so I'm not that nervous.
Can you I want to pull this up
before
we go any further, because this one right here says Tennessee's got like 3 people with 4+ sacks. I'll tell you right now, we were even looking in this last night. Okay, the Colts this time last year had 12 sacks. Okay, this time now they have 21 sacks. We've got multiple sacks with Kwity Paye, Tyquan Lewis, DeForest Buckner, Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, we've got guys.
We've got 3 guys with 3 sacks each.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like I said, our defensive front is actually producing at a good level, and the thing was they were slow starting too, as far as in the sack category. So
the first 2 weeks, I don't think we had a sack.
Yeah. So like I said, I understand what you guys are saying about that Titan, but man, I'll tell you right now, I don't think that Quentin Nelson's going to be giving up to pressures in a sack or whatever it was the last game. I think Quentin Nelson's going to take this personal. So I'm all for, like I said, this being a physical game, because I really do believe that. And let's remember, when the Colts start winning, it's a snowball effect. I mean, guys, when these guys get rolling, it's not uncommon for them to go 5, 6, 9 games on win streak. So we're already got 2 down. Let's keep that baby rolling.
Just tell the players they're playing the Chiefs every week. Or the Bills. Now, we're playing the Bills this week, guys. We got to get out there and get on it. All right. Like last year. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Please remember, smash that like button. It helps this a ton with analytics, so that this can get out to other people. Appreciate you. Any final words?
Guys, I just want to say, once again, thank you for all your support and everything. Really appreciate the donations. It's been tough. It's been tough on this side of the screen, and I cannot express to you how much we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I feel well enough tomorrow. I might do another hype stream. I don't know. Hopefully I start feeling better and this don't turn into what I had or what my wife and my son had, which most likely it will. But either way, hopefully I get feeling better and it don't get worse. But hopefully I'll at least see you guys 1:00 this Sunday as we do our live game reaction. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
All right, I'm calling out the offensive line. Straight up. Don't make last week an anomaly. Make it something that happens week after week after week. Prior, don't make me sing the Sesame Street song when referring to you. Don't make me sing one of these things is not like the others, okay? I would really appreciate that. Go Colts.